Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Playing with Power MTG, where we play with the most powerful cards in the most powerful formats. Tonight's game is brought to you by TCGPLAYER.com, where you can find all of your cards online while still supporting local game stores. Dragon Shield for all the best accessories to protect your decks, and through Patreon, where you get awesome benefits for your direct support. For tonight's game, the Playing with Power team decided to show off some of their favorite decks. With a wide range of strategies and a diverse cast of characters, we are ready to get this show on the road. This episode was made possible by all of our supporters over on Patreon. Our Patreon offers tons of benefits, including Discord access and live streaming, behind-the-scenes footage, raw gameplay, additional gameplay series, merchandise discounts, and archive footage of old games as well. We have tiers at all budgets, so sign up today. Now, let's start out by showcasing our fighters this evening. First, we have Ryan piloting his signature deck of Godo Bandit Warlord. This is an all-in combo deck built around the combination of Godo and Helm of the Host. His opening hand contains a Soul Ring, Mind Stone, Lightning Bolt, Imperial Recruiter, Felwar Stone, a Snow-Covered Mountain, and a Dwarven Ruins. Next, we have Zach piloting Kess, Dissident Mage. This is a mid-range deck with a multitude of threats. With the ability to Storm, cast Ad Nauseam, abuse Breach to the fullest, and win with a Consultation package, this deck is incredibly powerful. His opening hand contains a Bloodstained Mire, Mana Crypt, Swan Song, Arcane Signet, Spell Pierce, Mana Drain, and a Mnemonic Betrayal. After that, we have Folger piloting Tasigur the Golden Fang. Tasigur seeks to slow down his opponents and then use Tasigur to always have the right answer at the right time. His opening hand contains a Force of Will, Fierce Guardianship, Mox Opal, Mana Vault, Lotus Petal, Marsh Flats, and a Flooded Strand. Finally, we have Mike piloting the partner pair of Kraum Ludovic's Opus and Tevesh Zot Doom of Fools. Turbo Ad Nauseam with the ability to grind with its commanders makes this deck a lethal 1-2 punch. His opening hand contains a Swamp, Baron Master Wizard, Jeweled Lotus, Mox Opal, Dockside Extortionist, Mana Vault, and a Dispel.
Is this actually his hand? Good lord, Mike.
Without further ado, let's begin this eager, eerie, energetic, euphoric, exotic ensemble of excellence. Zach wins the Craziest Tattoo contest and gets to start us off. Zach draws a card for turn and plays a Bloodstained Mire. He cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up an Underground Sea onto the battlefield. He casts a Mana Crypt. He casts an Arcane Signet. The table jokes that this hand is too slow to compete with what Ryan and Mike are doing. Zach casts a Mox Opal. He passes. Folger draws a card for turn and plays a Marsh Flats. He prays to every magic god he can think of, cracks it, and pays 1 life. Zach doesn't have the opposition agent, and Folger then fetches up a Watery Grave onto the battlefield untapped, paying 2 life. He casts a Lotus Petal. He casts a Mana Vault. He follows up with a Mox Opal. Folger debates whether he should cast Tasigur or hold open turn 1 interaction. He decides to play it safe and passes to Mike. Mike draws a card for turn and plays a Swamp. He casts a Mox Opal. He casts a Jeweled Lotus. He casts a Mana Vault. Mike follows up with a Dockside Extortionist. In response, Zach casts Mana Drain, countering Dockside. Mike cracks Jeweled Lotus and casts his commander, Tevesh Zot Doom of Fools. He activates Tevesh's first ability and creates 2 Thrall tokens. Mike ends his turn. Ryan draws a card for turn and plays a Snow-Covered Mountain. He casts a Soul Ring. He follows it up with a Felwar Stone. Ryan passes to Zach. During his upkeep, Zach wins his Mana Crypt flip. He draws, and in his first main phase, he has 2 colorless mana through Mana Drain. He plays a Steam Vents into play untapped, paying 2 life. He casts his commander, Kess, Dissident Mage. Zach ships the turn to Folger. Folger draws and plays a Flooded Strand. He cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up a Breeding Pool onto the battlefield untapped, paying 2 life. He delves away some of his graveyard to help cast his commander, Tasigur the Golden Fang. He ends his turn. During his draw step, Mike takes a damage from his Mana Vault. He gets some help from his son to activate Tevesh's second ability, sacrificing a Thrall and drawing 2 cards. Not able to find a land, Mike passes. Ryan draws and plays a Dwarven Ruins, tapped. He casts a Mind Stone. Ryan ends the turn. During his upkeep, Zach wins his Mana Crypt flip. He draws and moves to combat. He attacks Tevesh with Kess. Tevesh loses 3 loyalty, and Zach passes to Folger. During his draw step, Folger takes a damage from his Mana Vault. He plays a Rejuvenating Springs. He moves to combat and attacks Tevesh with Tasigur. Mike chump blocks Tasigur with his Thrall token. Folger ends the turn. During his draw step, Mike takes a damage from his Mana Vault. He activates Tevesh's first ability and creates 2 more Thralls. Mike ships the turn. Ryan draws and plays a Command Beacon. He casts a Brass Squire. Ryan passes the turn. During his upkeep, Zach loses his Mana Crypt flip and takes 3 damage. He draws and moves to combat. He attacks Tevesh with Kess. Tevesh loses another 3 loyalty, and Zach passes. At the end of Zach's turn, Folger activates Tasigur. He mills 2, and then Zach returns Demonic Consultation to Folger's hand. During his draw step, Folger takes a damage from Mana Vault. He casts a Talisman of Dominance. He moves to combat and attacks Tevesh with Tasigur. Mike jump blocks Tasigur with a Thrall. Folger ends his turn. During his draw step, Mike takes a damage from Mana Vault. He activates Tevesh's second ability, sacrificing a Thrall and drawing 2 cards. He plays a Watery Grave, untapped, paying 2 life. He passes to Ryan, discarding the hand size. Ryan draws and casts a Welding Jar. He casts his commander, Godo, Bandit Warlord. In response, Folger cracks Lotus Petal to activate Tasigur, resetting priority. He then mills 2, and then Mike returns Lotus Petal to Folger's hand. With Godo still in the stack, Zach hard casts Force of Will, countering Godo. With enough mana to just try again next turn, Ryan passes to Zach. During his upkeep, Zach wins his Mana Crypt flip. He draws and casts Mnemonic Betrayal. In response, Mike casts Force of Negation, exiling Mana Drain, targeting Mnemonic Betrayal. Zach responds by casting Swan Song, targeting Force of Negation. In response, Mike casts Dispel, targeting Swan Song. Zach responds again by casting a Force of Will from his graveyard through Kess's ability, exiling Winds of Rebuke, paying a life, and targeting Force of Negation. In response, Folger casts Fierce Guardianship for its alternate cost, targeting Force of Will. Somehow, Zach has another answer and casts Spell Pierce, targeting his own Mnemonic Betrayal. He makes this play to put Mnemonic Betrayal into his graveyard so he can try again next turn. The table passes priority, and the stack resolves. Spell Pierce counters Mnemonic Betrayal, Fierce Guardianship counters Force of Will, which gets exiled because of Kess, Dispel counters Swansong, and Force of Negation fizzles. The stack is finally clear, and Zach moves to combat. He attacks Mike with Kess. Mike takes a hit, and Zach ends his turn. During his draw step, Folger takes a damage from his Mana Vault. Mike begins to talk to Folger about something political. Before he can even finish his sentence, Folger moves to combat. He attacks Tevesh with Tasigur, killing him. In his second main phase, he casts Lotus Petal. He casts Teferi, Master of Time. He activates Teferi's first ability, drawing and discarding. He casts Imperial Seal. He fetches up a card onto the top of his library and loses 2 life. He passes to Mike. During his draw step, Mike takes a damage from his Mana Vault. He plays a Scalding Tarn. He cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up a Volcanic Island onto the battlefield. He casts a Grim Monolith. Mike ends the turn. At the end of Mike's turn, Folger activates Teferi's first ability. In response, Mike flashes in Notion Thief. Folger cries and asks Mike to reconsider as he's trying to draw the interaction he put onto the top of his deck. Notion Thief resolves, Mike draws a card, and Folger discards a Praetor's Grasp. Still in the end step, Ryan casts Lightning Bolt, dealing 3 damage to Teferi. Ryan draws and then sacrifices Dwarven Ruins for 2 red. He recasts his commander, Godo, Bandit Warlord. In response, Folger casts Force of Will, exiling Swansong and paying a life, countering Godo again. All spent, Ryan ends the turn. During his upkeep, Zach loses his Mana Crypt flip and takes 3 damage. He draws and casts Mnemonic Betrayal from his graveyard through Kess. It resolves this time, and then his opponents exile their graveyards. He casts a Dockside Extortionist. It enters, and Zach creates 12 treasures. He cracks 2 treasures, and then casts Thassa's Oracle from his hand. It enters, and with the trigger on the stack, Zach casts Demonic Consultation. He exiles his library, and then Thassa's Oracle trigger resolves, and Zach wins the game. Ladies and gentlemen, what a game. There was a stack with 7 unique spells, and each player was threatening to go off. Congratulations to Zach on his win. Tonight was a perfect example of all the completely broken things that you can do at a CEDH table, and we loved every minute of it. The most valuable card has to go to Mnemonic Betrayal. With all of the overlap in this format, this card is effectively a Yawgmoth's Will on steroids. Being able to leverage your opponent's graveyard is very powerful, and the stack in this game represented that perfectly. This episode was made possible by all of your support. Support from viewers like you is what enables us to bring this to the world. If you want to help out, consider signing up to Patreon, buying some merchandise at our store, or purchasing cards from the TCGPLAYER links in the description. All of these help us bring this content to you, and then you get awesome merchandise, cards at great prices, and cool Patreon perks. If you cannot help financially, liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and sharing these videos goes such a long way as well. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. Tune in next time when we duke it out to see who will be king of the competitive EDH table. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Alright, time for Patreon shoutouts. I'd like to give a shout out to J-Rock, Wayan, Spielrahu, Sparks, Zods, Dylan Becker, Philip Hickey, Sanguinolency, Matt Wingrove, Snarps the Klept, Fur Berglund, Rakeko, Nick, Dante, CZ, Baby Jeebus, Pyro, Trey Payne, Dark, Delphdriz, Noah Saldana, and Brad Tobin. Thanks a lot, everyone. Really appreciate it.